Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cozy Soul Knitting Podcast. My name is Saoirse and I'm obviously a knitter and we're going to be talking about my knitting, what I've been working on, what I finished, what I'm planning to cast on soon. So this is episode 7, I believe. So if you're new here, hello, welcome. I hope you enjoy this knitting podcast. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and hanging out with me again. I appreciate you. I hope that this podcast episode gives you something to watch while you're knitting or doing whatever other craft you might be up to. So really quick to start off, my stomach is growling, so please ignore that. I thought I would get this done and then order some food on this kind of gloomy Sunday that I'm filming this. So we're just gonna be a little hungry throughout this, which is fine. There it goes again. I hope the camera's not picking that up, but I feel like I always do this to myself. I'm like, oh, I'll have plenty of time to film before I get hungry, and yeah. It's like halfway through doing my makeup, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have probably eaten already. So I'm coming to you from the greater Seattle area. It's Sunday, June 18th. There's my stomach again. And it's about just after noon, literally just turned 12:01. And it's kind of gray out. The sun peeked out a little bit today and then went away. So I wanted to just briefly mention, we'll get started here in a minute, I promise, but I have a lot of acquisitions this time around. I have been buying yarn as if all of these shops are going out of business or something. Like, I just keep finding things that I want to try, and I keep, feeling like I need more summer yarn because I don't have a lot of yarn that is like spring and summer, I have a lot of like wool. So I've been stocking up so that I can make all of the summer things. So I will be showing you lots of yarn today, which I'm pretty excited about actually, because it's all just like, I don't know, it's all stuff that I am just very excited to make things with. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that at the end of this podcast episode, I would like to kind of share a few things that I've been enjoying recently, TV shows, maybe the book that I'm currently reading, or a couple of the books that I've been reading. I want to start adding that into the end of my podcast because I've just been really enjoying when other people do that in their podcasts. It just helps me, I feel like, get to know them a little bit better, and I don't know, it's just nice sometimes to get some recommendations for things, and even if it's stuff that I wouldn't ever watch or read, it's kind of just, I don't know, I'm nosy maybe. I just like to know what people are watching and reading and listening to. So we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. If you're not interested, you definitely don't have to watch, but I don't know. I feel like it helps create community when you kind of, talk about things outside of just your niche, I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways, we can go ahead and get started now. So sorry for the long intro, but I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing, which is our first finished object of this podcast episode. So excited. Now I'm going through and I'm like, did I mention everything that I wanted to mention before I got started? I think I did. So some of you probably already know, but I finished the Tolsta tee. That's what I'm wearing currently. The Tolsta tee by Clow, who is the Crayabea here on YouTube. I will leave her channel link down below if you have been living under a rock and don't know her, which I'm sure all of you do already, but I will leave her channel linked. And I'll also try to leave everything linked, like Ravelry pattern pages, yeah, and then I'll mention the yarn that I'm using for all of these things. And if you didn't catch it, or if I forget to say any of it, it'll be in the description box for you. So I knitted this up in Purl Soho Cotton Pure. You can see a cone right behind me, and is the The green cone is behind the big cone. Let me grab it real quick. So this is the yarn that I used. These cones come with 1,000 grams of yarn, and this is technically an acquisition, so I'll talk about it a little bit later as well, but yeah, it is a sport weight. It's single ply. It is pretty bouncy, kind of, yeah, it's nice. It's soft. I've never worked with cotton before, so I don't really have much to compare this to, but I've felt cotton before, like the type that they sell, I feel like at all the chain craft stores, that like sugar and cream one. I don't know if I'm saying the name of it right, or if I'm getting it right. I think it's sugar and cream. I could be totally wrong. But it's that one that's at the craft stores, and my mom crochets with it a lot, and I think it's 100% cotton, and it does feel drier, kind of not something I would necessarily want next to my skin. This, however, is very soft, very nice to work with. Again, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I liked it. I vlogged a little bit of me making this, and I think I did. We'll see if it makes it into the vlog because I haven't finished editing it, but I was saying that I wasn't sure how I was liking it as I was knitting, but I realized, and we'll get to this in a minute, it was actually the needles that I was using to knit this they're kind of causing some problems. Not really, like not really problems, but like I should have used different needles and it would have been better. Anyways, you will probably see this again before summer is over, because this is, I feel like, the epitome, the definition of summer yarn. The color, all of it. By the way, the colorway is Lemon Mint, and it's my newest like obsession, basically, this color. Like, I want to knit everything in this color. I keep finding myself gravitated towards, like, when I'm shopping for yarn, I keep having to tell myself not to buy this color because, like, I already have it. It's such a great color. Anyways, I bought this on sale from Purl Soho. I like to wait till they have sales because they literally have sales all the time, so you don't have to wait long. But they were running a sale on this, so I picked up two. They're pricier, obviously, because you're buying so much yarn, but it comes on a comb, you don't have many ends to weave in, and you can make so many things with it, so I thought it would be worth it, especially because the two colors that I got are just really great. Anyways, I should be talking about this later in the acquisition section. So, the Tolsta tee. I forgot I was going to do this before I sat down to film, and now I'm realizing I felt this whole time like I was forgetting something, and now I know what it is. I wanted to measure this to see if it was actually this, ended up being the size that I was trying to knit, because I have a suspicion that my gauge, when I do gauge swatches, I am pretty sure that because I know that I knit tighter, I subconsciously knit a little bit looser when I'm doing gauge swatches, and then when I get to my actual project, I feel like I end up knitting tighter, and so I don't make the adjustments that I need to, like going up a needle size or picking a larger size to knit to get the right positive ease. So this is a little bit smaller than I wanted it to be. It still fits for the most part, but it's not as much positive ease as I was hoping for. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you a little bit better what it's looking like. I can't really back up because there's a stool, or like a ottoman behind me that I'm sitting on, but I'm getting on my tippy toes. So this is where the length falls. It's a little bit longer than where like my waist is naturally the smallest, so it kind of isn't as cropped as maybe I was intending for it to be. And then it's, I would say, like, it doesn't actually look see-through. Like it is a little bit, but I feel like you can kind of get away with wearing, or like just wearing whatever underneath it. Okay, so then the only thing, I'm going to show you guys this, then I'll sit back down, but these are the sleeves, and you can probably tell, especially on this side, this is way, way too tight. So yeah, on the sleeves, especially on this one, I bound off, I think, way too tightly. I think it's a combination of this maybe not being exactly the size that I was going for. I was trying to knit a size 4, and I think that I need to measure it, and so I probably shouldn't say, because I could be totally wrong, but I think I might have knitted it a little bit, like might have not gotten to the exact measurements of a size 4. I'll put up on the screen I'll put up on the screen the finished measurements, so you'll see if I'm totally off base or not. But I think that's part of it, is that the sleeves are a little tight. Like, they're not, but the bind off is really tight. But I almost want to rip back the bind off and the ribbing, and redo the ribbing in the same size needles that I was knitting the body in, instead of like going down a size, because I do think the ribbing is also a little tight. It would be fine if I had bound off better, but especially on this arm, the bind off is so tight. It is a little insane. And I used the Lori's Twisted bind off, or Lori's Twisty bind off. I don't know if it's twisty or twisted, but whatever. I used that bind off, and at the time, that was the stretchiest bind off that I knew how to do. And now, I've done a sewn bind off. I'm like, wow, this bind off is not stretchy at all relative to a sewn bind off. Like, crazy, so crazy. So I will probably never do this bind off again. I'm probably going to stick, even though it is a pain to do a sewn bind off. Like, it took me forever on a different project. I think it's worth it, because it is so stretchy, and I think I need that. So, because I feel like weirdly the body isn't super tight. Like, I can get it on without any issue, which has happened to me in the past, where I bound off the body a little too tight and I couldn't get it on, or you know, just, like, I could get it over my shoulders and my boobs, but like it was, you know, not the like easiest thing. Yeah. So I like how this turned out. I just wish I think if I had to do it over, or like if I could go back and do it over again, I would knit it in a size bigger. I would knit the size 5 instead of the size 4. So yeah. And just so you guys know, my bust is usually about a 41-inch bust. So yeah. This knit up so quickly. I hadn't even had this casted on in my last podcast, which, by the way, just to clarify, my last podcast went up not too long ago on my channel, but I actually filmed it at the beginning of May, so this pattern wasn't even released yet. That's how long it's been, just FYI. So it's been quite a while, so if you're like, holy shit, you did so much in like 2 weeks, it was not 2 weeks. But yeah, this knit up so quickly. I feel like I didn't vlog the whole process, but I did vlog like probably the last half of it, and I feel like maybe this is not true, but I feel like I finished the last half of it in like a couple of days. It just like flew off the needles, and I'm so glad, because this is my first ever tee. I don't own any other knitted, well, I don't have any other handmade knitted tops. Like, I have my 3 sweaters that I've knit, and then this, that's it. So I have like no summer spring knits to wear, and I'm like, I want to be able to wear, you know, handmade things this summer. So I was just like really excited that I finally have my first one. Moving on, I have one more finished object, and this was one where this was in the last podcast episode. I had this casted on, and I think I just was like, maybe before the Tolsta tee or after my Naima pullover, I think I was like, I need a small project to I need to get done with a small project. Like, I really want another finished object. So I worked on this one until I finished it, and it is the Purl Soho Classic Ribbed Hat. This is knit up in some leftover yarn from my Lento that I did. It's in Purl Soho Tussock yarn paired with their linen quill, which you can kind of see, I think it's back here. So it's this yarn here, and I still have 2 skeins left, or like one of each. And I thought knitting this I would have to get into these 2, and I did not at all. So I had quite a bit left over of 2 other, let me show you. This is what I have left over from this. And these were not full to begin with when I started this. So I have a lot of this yarn still. I don't know what to do with it. If you have ideas, suggestions, opinions, let me know. What should I do with this? I don't know what to do with them. I kind of want to, I want some left over to go into a scrappy blanket, because I really want to knit a scrappy blanket that just has, I want one that has leftovers of all the socks that I make, and then I want another one that has leftovers of all of the sweaters that I make. I just think that'd be really cool, because I can look at the pattern or the blanket and be like, oh my gosh, this is fabric from all of my socks, and then, you know, one for my sweaters and stuff. Anyways, this is too much though for a scrappy blanket. Maybe if it was just this, but this, I gotta figure out something. And I don't need another hat that is this color. Sorry, the camera turned off. I was saying, I don't need another of these hats. Like, I don't need another hat that is this color. So I was thinking I could leave this for a stripy sweater. It could be part of a stripy sweater. Maybe this would go into the scrappy blanket. Let me know if you have ideas for scrappy projects or a good sweater pattern for scrappy leftovers. I know what is it? That Stripe Hype sweater by, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna say it right. I hear people say her name, it sounds so cool, but I feel like I can't say it. Is it Kukavakika? That didn't sound right. But the Stripe Hype sweater, I saw, I have mohair in my mouth. I saw Kay from Handmade with Kay test knit that, and I was like, that looks like such a cool stripy sweater. I really want to knit it. It looks so good. So I'm like, maybe this could be part of it. I don't know what weight that sweater was knit at, and I'm not sure like how much, you know, I'll probably have to do more than 2 colors to be able to use because these would have to be used together. And anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let me know if you have thoughts, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions or something you want to see me knit. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I have this hat and I'm not gonna put it on, but I think it's too big. Also, it's not blocked yet. I don't know if you could tell that or not, but it's not blocked. The ends are woven in. I just have a really long tail for some reason. The ends are woven in. Haven't blocked it yet though, so I haven't cut them off. And this might end up being too big for me, so I might have to give it to one of my parents, because putting it on not blocked, it is already a little looser than I would want it to be. So if it blocks, I think it's gonna get a little bit bigger. So I might not wear it. Also, I feel like if I put this on right now to show it to you guys, I would look like I'm ready for a Seahawks game or a Sounders game. And yeah, this is unintentional. Okay, I just thought that was funny that my 2 finished objects are like the colors of the Seattle sports teams. So now I'm like, what do I talk about next? Whips. We're talking about whips. Okay. So I've been casting on a lot lately, and I don't really know what to share with you first. I'm like, there's something I feel like that I'm like very excited about, but I feel like I should save it for last because it's like the most exciting thing, and then there's some other things that are maybe like not as exciting. Maybe not as, like, they're still exciting. They're not garments. So, you know? Okay. I'll start with that one, I think. That's probably the good one to start with. I have a gift knit, which I'm knitting for my mom, and it is the Purl Soho dumpling bag. I'm holding it upside down, hold on. It's just a chaotic mess of tails and cords that I have my stitches on hold on. So this is one strap. And I'm done with this strap, and I think you're supposed to, I forget if it's like a Kitchener stitch, I think is what you're supposed to do to like attach it to the other side. So I have one strap done, and then I need to do the other strap, and then I'll stitch them, and then I forget what I do. I think this is also down here you're supposed to, because this was a provisional cast on, so you're supposed to, I think, do a Kitchener stitch, just close up the bottom of the bag. This is knit up in Purl Soho Blackbird linen, which I have never worked with linen before. I have some in my stash, like some linen combinations. I've never worked with full-on linen. It is such a weird experience going from like soft, like merino wool to this, and there's fiber literally everywhere. Oh my gosh. So it's weird because I feel like as you're working with it, it's really rough, and like I had to take breaks from it because I felt like I was really trying out my hands. But I feel like it almost softens up as you keep working with it. It's kind of a weird thing. Anyways, I don't know how to show you guys this better because there's just so much going on. I guess that's kind of an accurate representation of what it's currently looking like. This is definitely one of those trust the process things, because I'm sitting here looking like this is not gonna look cute. I don't understand. But I feel like you just have to trust it. We'll see. Anyways, I'm knitting this one for my mom. It's in the color, I forget. It's something silver, I believe. I'll put it on the screen. But this is like a one skein project, supposedly, I hope. Part of me is like worried that I'm gonna run out, but I think we're good. I think we're okay. Because we're fine. I only have one more strap to do. We're good. So let's kind of talk a little bit about this project. So talk a little bit more about this project. The first thing is that my tension when I started the strap, oh my gosh, the camera's so far away. I don't know if it'll focus. Yeah. Oh my gosh, just the tension got so bad as I started the strap, but it's fine. So that was one thing. But the other issue that I had, and I don't know, I'm like, how did I do this? Because when I cast on, I always count my stitches, like to make sure that I cast it on the right number. And most of the time, I count twice to make sure, because I am not good with numbers. So you're supposed to cast on 100 stitches. And I thought that I did. And then as I split for the straps, I realized I did not have the right number of stitches, and I was getting really confused. And then I counted how many stitches I had, and I only had 97. I was missing 3 whole stitches. I don't know how I did that. So part of me was like, okay, I'm just going to rip it all back. We're just going to start over, even though I had knitted almost the whole, was on the straps. Like I basically was just about done with this project. I was like, okay, guess we're just gonna have to redo the whole thing. But then I was like, you know what, I can probably just increase, so I get, I'll just do another round and I'll just increase till I have 100 stitches. It probably won't be very noticeable. It might look a little weird, probably be okay. So my plan, because I also won't have the same, or like the correct number of stitches on where I, did the provisional cast on. So my plan here is to do a round of knitting instead of immediately doing the Kitchener stitch. I'll just do a round of knitting to knit, and I'll do some increases to get it to 100 stitches. And I was like, did I drop 3 stitches somewhere? Like I was like inspecting it really closely to try to figure out like what had gone wrong, because I was like positive that I wouldn't have cast it on and not noticed that I was missing 3 stitches. But this is why I should not be allowed to do math related things, because even counting I can't do apparently. That is my Purl Soho dumpling bag. Yeah, that one's for my mom. And I'll show you with the acquisitions. I do have 3 more skeins of the Blackbird linen because I'm making 4 of these things because I think they're so cute. And 2 of them are going to be gift knits and then 2 of them are going to be for me. Do I need to? Probably not. But I wanted 2 different colors and I couldn't decide, so I'm just going to make 2. I just think this is funny because there's like no progress on it. This is going to be a sweater. I only knit. I haven't even finished knitting the collar of this. It's supposed to be a folded collar. I haven't even finished. This is the Semper sweater by the Knit Purl girl, or it will be when I finish it. Sorry, I had a burp. This is knitted, or I'm knitting this in Knitting for Olive Merino with soft silk and mohair in the Hazel colorway. I think I acquired, like I showed you guys, this yarn in the acquisition section of the last podcast. So I had casted it on, and then I stopped. Then I like started working on all these other things. This was the thing where I was going to have this casted on, and I wanted to get to a point where it was just like simple stockinette, so that I had, you know, a project where I would just be, you know, knitting in the round stockinette, so that, you know, have something to knit when there's like a longer meeting at work, or when I just don't want to pay attention to what I'm knitting. I just want to, you know, knit. A little mindless knitting. This was going to be my mindless knitting project, but then some other things kind of came in and distracted me, and then I never kept going with it. So I don't have too much to say about this other than this combination is so soft. Like I understand why people really like these. This is my first time working with Knitting for Olive, so very exciting. And I really like the fabric that this is making, so I don't know why I'm like trying to do a little happy dance, but I'm like sitting down. Anyways, I don't have anything to say about this right now. Basically, it's just I've knitted just ever so slightly over half of the collar, the folded collar, so really not a lot of progress. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this away. I'll have more to say on it later, but this has been taking a back seat, and that's okay because realistically by the time I finish this I probably won't be able to wear it anyways. So if it does take all summer, that's fine. That's fine. It's gonna be a slow kind of languishing whip, and I'm okay with that. Now we're getting into the really exciting whips, or at least the ones that I'm really excited about and are probably getting the majority of my attention and love right now. Okay, so I have to preface this whip with saying like why I chose to cast this on. This is a new cast on, by the way. So actually trying to think, I don't know how many whips I had in my last podcast, but I'm pretty sure one of them was the hat. And then I think I only had another one, and it's still a whip, and so we'll get to that one. But I think everything else is a new cast on. Anyways, I was watching More Copy Callie, Kalila from More Copy Callie, and I think she just uploaded, I think, a new podcast episode, so the one before that, which I don't know when this is gonna go up, so probably shouldn't spend time trying to tell you which one exactly it is, but she casted on a pair of socks, and she did a 2x2 rib on the sock, and it looked so good, and I was like, okay, I need to try that. And I don't know, so if you've been watching from like episode 1, you know, when I cast it on, or when I finished my first pair of socks, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just always gonna have socks on the needles because like they're so much fun, and like why wouldn't I? And they're such an easy project, so of course, like I think I'm just always gonna have socks on my needles. And what did I do? I literally never cast on socks ever again. Like, and not because I didn't want to, and not because I didn't. I actually really liked how the socks turned out. Like, for the most part, there were some things that I, you know, would change, but like, for the most part, they came out pretty well. Turned out pretty well. But I think one of the things that was really holding me back was like I didn't really love how the 1x1 rib looks on vanilla socks. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. And I think that was kind of just like in the back of my head. So like every time I think about casting on, I'm like, oh, I have to do 1x1 rib and it's not even gonna look that good. So I just like never did. I just never casted on another pair of socks until now. Because when I saw Khalila's socks, I was like, oh my god, the 2x2 rib, it looks so good. It looks so exciting. It looks so like just good. Like high quality. I don't know how else to describe it. So I cast it on a sock, one sock. We're working on the first one. But here it is. Here this is. And yeah, sorry. I was thinking I forgot to tell you what the yarn was on the last whip, but I did. This is the sock. And as you can see, look at that 2x2 rib. Get this tail out of the way for you. Look at this 2x2 rib. I'm about to change the battery on my camera. But look at this. So stinking beautiful. I'm doing 60 rounds for the leg on magic loop. And it's just a nice stockinette, easy going. With this beautiful, oh, I love it so much. I'm gonna change the battery on my camera and then I'll talk to you about the yarn real quick. But yeah, I'm really excited to have socks back on my needles. Like, I'm kind of bummed that I haven't had more sock knitting recently, so it's making me really happy. So let's chat a little bit about the yarn. So this is the yarn that I'm using. This is, made sure to keep the ball band because I knew I was gonna forget. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. It is 75% wool and 25% nylon. What else? This is in the Seascape colorway. And I bought this from the Woolly Thistle, if you're wondering, because this is West Yorkshire Spinners is a British brand, I believe. So I don't think it's hard to get it in the States, but like maybe not as easy. So I got it from the Woolly Thistle. I'm pretty sure they only have this there. I think this is the only West Yorkshire Spinners yarn that they carry on that shop online. I've seen it. I've seen some other online stores carry like other types of their yarn. But anyways, if you were looking for it, Woolly Thistle is where I got it from. And had a good experience shopping there. So, like shopping on their online site. So, anyways, this is self-striping yarn, but it's very, like, I don't know, the stripes are really quite small, like, as it's working up, like, they're very thin stripes. So I'll show you up close if it'll focus. Come on. There we go. So this is what it looks like. It's a little washed out right now on camera, but it is very kind of, yeah, very thin stripes. It's very I can't think of the word. It's very subtle change in colors. That was the word, subtle. Very subtle change in colors. So it's not like when you think like self-striping yarn, it's not like where they're even stripes and kind of, you know, you can tell really quickly where the stripes are changing. But I think this is still considered self-striping yarn. It's just like subtle. And it was funny because when I was casting this on, I kind of panicked because I thought at first that it was self-striping yarn. So then I started, like, I was like, oh, I can't just do the heel the way I did the last heel that I did, like on my first pair of socks, because that would mess up the striping effect. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do an afterthought heel. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. So I like stayed up until like 1 in the morning trying to learn how to do that, or like prepare myself for it, just like researching it and trying to figure out like the best way to handle self-striping yarn. And then as I was knitting it up, I was like, you know, on the cuff, and I'm like, wait, this this is not self-striping yarn. Like, this is just variegated, because like it just looked like it was kind of slightly changing colors every so often. But then as I kept knitting, I realized like, no, it is self-striping. It's just like not what I thought self-striping yarn would be. Like, it's not what I had in my head. So I kind of went back and forth. I was like, oh, I don't have to do an afterthought heel. And then quickly realized, I was like, oh, I actually might, because yeah, it might be fine because the stripes are not like, you know, they're thinner, but I think I'm going to anyways do an afterthought heel on this. But anyways, I'm still working on the leg and probably not gonna finish that part soon. I feel like I'm going very slowly on this, but anyways, that's my sock right now. And I'm really enjoying having this project just to work on. This is kind of why I stopped with my Semper sweaters, because I have this, which is just right now anyways, just like simple stockinette in the round knitting. So kind of mindless knitting. So if I need mindless knitting, I'm reaching for this. Or I'm reaching for my next whip, which let's get into, because I'm realizing I've been filming for a very long time already. This next whip, I cast it on in between now and the last podcast, and ooh, I want to make sure I keep the ball band in here so that I don't lose it. Okay, so I was buying quite a bit of yarn, and I kept telling myself, I was like, well, you know, I don't really have summer yarn in my stash, so I need to buy summer yarn so that I can do summer projects. And then I realized that I did have some yarn that could be considered summer yarn. So I have the Noro Kakigori yarn, and let's see, sorry, I just like had a coughing attack. All this fiber, I feel like makes me really like, I'm not allergic to it, but it like, I feel like I'm like inhaling it. Okay, anyway, so I have 2 skeins of this, because I thought originally I was going to do a sweater, but anyways, this is cotton, silk, viscose, and polyamide, and so I thought, this kind of is a summer yarn, right? Or like a spring summer yarn. And I think it's DK weight, if I'm not mistaken. This is color 8. I think the colors have names other than like the number, but I don't think it says, at least not in English, on the pack or on the little tag here, so I don't know, but it's color 8. So yes, I have 2 of these. And I was like, you know what? I can make like 2 different summer tops with these 2 different skeins. So I casted on the Me Oh My tee. This is what I have so far. So this is a bottom up tee. So it doesn't really look like much right now. But I've been making pretty good progress on this. And this is what I've been reaching for when I just want mindless knitting. Sometimes I reach for the socks, but usually I'm reaching for these or for this. And yeah, again, it's bottom up. It's got this rolled stockinette edge, which I'm not really a fan of, but on the pictures that I saw, like on the pattern, it wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't look like, it looked like I might be okay with it. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I feel like it wasn't super noticeable. Also, this pattern calls for 0 to 4 inches, I think, of negative ease, and that kind of made me a little nervous. I've never knitted something with negative ease before, and I've been having, you know, I was just coming off of this Tolsta tee. I was like, I really don't want it to not fit, especially if I end up with like making something tighter than what it's actually supposed to be because of my tension. So I actually went up a size. So I'm knitting the extra large, and I feel like I was supposed to, so I actually, I think I actually went up 2 sizes. I think I was supposed to knit the medium to get the negative ease, but I kind of got scared, so I'm knitting the extra large. And I'm just like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna enjoy it better if there's a little bit more positive ease. So, yeah. This is what I have so far. Literally doesn't look like anything, but this has been pretty fun to knit. I will say the Kakigori yarn is kind of, like, it's not hard to work with, it's not like tricky to work with, it's just like interesting because it goes from like being really thin to really thick in places because it kind of has that added in like texture. So it's just like an interesting, different type of yarn to work with. And yeah, so that's a whip. Well, I feel like I'm doing a really bad job of telling you like what the pattern, who the patterns are by, and I cannot remember the Me on My Tea. I can't remember who the pattern designer is. I will have put it up on the screen probably already, so I think we're okay, but I like cannot remember. I think that's all I have to say about this. It's been a fun knit so far. I'm excited to see how it turns out, and it's kind of weird because like you can't try. Well, I mean, you could try it on, but I feel like I wouldn't. I'm like, will that tell me anything? Like just trying on like the small part of the body that I have. I think that brings us to the last whip. Yeah, because I think I have 5. I have 5, so this is the last one. The most exciting of them all, so I had to save it for last. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for this amazing whip. So, let me hold it up for you. I'm so excited about this. Okay. I have a little bit of a tangle of yarn going on right now, so I'm going to try to hold this up and hopefully it won't be too tangled. But this is the Lanark! Oh my gosh, can you see it? Look, it just takes up like the whole thing. I'm in love. I'm in love with this. I tried it on and I think it's gonna be almost perfect. Almost perfect. Just, oh, so nice. Obviously I'm on the sleeve, as you can tell. Oh, I'm so excited. This is the garment that I've been like waiting, I feel like my whole life for. Overly dramatic about it, but I'm very attached to this pattern. And the ribbing on this, oh, it's the best ribbing I feel like I've ever done in my life. And this, let's talk about the body. Do you guys see? Do you see the stretch on this baby? That is a sewn bind off. It was a 1x1 ribbed sewn bind off that I did. I feel like I can never go back. Yeah, I feel like I can never go back to a different type of ribbing. Or a different type of bind off, sorry. Because it's perfect. It's stretchy, it's so perfect. It gives that, you know, that extra detail to really, I feel like, make a garment like good, you know, and something that you're going to, I feel like it's a detail I'm going to appreciate in the future. Every time I put it on, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm so grateful that I spent the 4 or 5 hours that it took to do that sewn bind off. It takes a long time. It took me a long time anyways. So I'm just really, really happy that I took the time to do that. And while it was, you know, kind of a slog to get through, it's like, again, every time I put it on, I'd be like, wow, I'm so grateful that I took the time to do that, because it just really, I feel like really enhances the finished object, or it will when this is finished. Anyways, I still have like half a sleeve I feel like to do. I still have the other sleeve to do, and then I have the zipper and whatever else I feel like you need to do to like set it up so that you can put in the zipper, which I don't really know. I haven't read that part of the pattern yet, so I want to say that I want to have it done in the next 2 weeks, but like it has been taking me a while to get through. Like every time I'm like, wow, I have not done a lot, and I think that I have, and then I haven't. I think this is my 5th skein that I've used. I have 3 more left, and I think I had 9 total. So those are my whips. Now I want to talk about future plans, and I'm just gonna check the time really quick because I've been talking for an hour. I don't think I'll edit out like some of it so that it won't be an hour for you guys, but I think I need to kind of speed up the acquisitions. I'm also really hungry. To start, I did buy these from Purl Soho. So these 2 cotton giants, cotton pure cones. This one, I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with it. It's either going to become, well, I mean, it's going to become a lot of things. But one of them, it might become a Tolsta tee. It's probably going to be some other types of tees as well. At some point, I want to do a striped tee of some sort with these 2 colors. Maybe a striped Tolsta, maybe a different type of tee. But I would like to combine these at some point. But yeah, so I have these. I'm gonna make a lot of things with them because they're cones. They're huge. They're so big. It's actually kind of a workout to do this. Alright, and then when I placed that order at Purl Soho, I also got some Blackbird linen. Obviously, one of the skeins is with my whip, but these are the other two. So I got 2 of the Queen Anne's lace color, which is this, and one of these is going to be a gift knit for a friend of mine, and then this one, oh my gosh, this has a lot of fiber coming off of it. It's like getting in my nose. It's really itchy. And then natural flax is this colorway right here. And this is going to be one of the ones I make for myself. So I'm going to have one of this color and one of this color. I went with the beige colors, or like kind of the beigey neutral colors, because I felt like since it's the dumpling bag, it's supposed to look like a little dumpling. Like I was like, I wanted to pick colors that would actually be more dumpling-like because I just really liked it. And these are the colors that they like pictured in the pattern, and I kind of just got obsessed with them. So you'll see these turn into dumpling bags at some point in the future. The next thing that I purchased, I've been really obsessed with the Farnham tee, just seeing pictures of it on Instagram. I think it's pretty sure that that's a knit Purl girl pattern, pretty sure. And I wanted to do it. So I decided I was going to pick up some Seascape, I think it's a line, right? Seascape line? I feel like that's how I hear people who like actually know how to pronounce the Scandinavian words say it. And then everyone else is like, line? I think it's line. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Anyways, so I picked some of this up in, this is, okay, so I don't know what the actual name is. There's just a number on the ball band, so it's 9541. And then this one is 1002. So it's just a white and kind of this like light kind of just a light muted green. So the whites are going to be the stripes on it, and then the rest of it will be this color. And I bought this from Mother Knitter, I think is the shop. I think they're based out of New Jersey, and they sell a lot of Seascape. So that's going to be the Farnham tee. It's right up here, if you couldn't see. But the reason I bought from Mother Knitter, and I've never bought from them before, but the reason that I got it from there instead of there were some other online shops that I probably would have gotten Seascape from. I saw a pattern that Inga from Knitting Traditions is working on, and the only place you can get it is in the like you can't get it online, at least in the States, at least for like the English one maybe, I don't know. You can only get it in this, and I could not figure out where to buy this from, and I finally found it on Mother Knitter, but the thing was you had to buy a project's worth of Seascape yarn in order to buy this. Even though you're paying for it, you still have to buy their yarn, and at least from that shop. And I don't know if that's the shop. I don't know if that's something that the Mother Knitter decided they wanted to do, or if it's an agreement that they have with this brand. I have no idea. I thought it was really weird because I'm like, I'm paying for this, so I shouldn't have to make an additional purchase to buy this. So I'm just sitting there thinking like, well, what if you already have enough yarn and you just need a pattern, right? Or what if you, I don't know, I feel like it's okay to knit a pattern from a brand that sells yarn and not use their yarn. Like that is okay. And I don't think brands should be weird about that. I don't know, maybe they have a good reason for it, but it just seemed weird. I didn't like, it kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but like, it's whatever. I wanted this sweater, which is the Abby sweater, the Abby Ginser. I don't think I'm saying that right, so I'm just gonna call it the Abby sweater. But this is, I saw Inga knitting this, and I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed with it. I think it was the color combination she used, but I just really like I really like the idea of this sweater. It just looks so cool. It looks very different from things that I would probably normally knit, so I'm just really excited for it. But I don't want to use Sandisgarn yarn for it. I want to use some other yarn for it. I really want to, honestly, just an FYI, I'm going to shamelessly copy Inga and do the same colors. I'm not going to use maybe the same yarn, but I'm going for like the same colors, and I want to use hand-dyed yarn. So I'm probably not going to knit this anytime soon, just because it's going to take me a while, I think, to find the right hand-dyed yarn, and it's going to take me a while to like get okay with spending that much yarn, or spending that much money on yarn for a sweater, because it's going to be expensive. But yeah, anyways, so I bought this because I wanted to like make sure, like when I found where I could get it from, I was like, I am getting it. Like, I have to get my hands on this so that I have it, and then I can worry about getting the yarn. But then they were like, but you also have to buy the yarn now. And I was like, well, I don't really want to use Sandisgarn for this sweater. So I bought stuff for the tee, and that was okay. I was worried they were going to email me and be like, no, you have to use yarn that goes with this booklet. I would have figured something out then if I had to do that, but they didn't care. It just said project worth of yarn. It didn't specify which project, so it all ended up a-okay. It was really quick shipping. That was the other thing though, shipping from New Jersey to Washington, which is, yes, kind of technically across the country, but still, it's not like I'm shipping something from Canada or to Europe. It was $20 to ship it from New Jersey to Seattle. Insane. Totally insane. So I was $20 away from getting free shipping, so I was like, I'd rather my money go to something and not the shipping. So I bought some extra things. So I'll just show you, because I think they're kind of cool, and I'm actually kind of glad that I got them. So I got two things from Coco Knits. Let me try and get this out. So this, super cool. I don't know how often I'm actually going to use it, but I like the idea of it. So this is magnetic, right? And then this is a slap bracelet. And then you can like put your, if you're like got a, needle, maybe you're like weaving in ends, you want to place your needle there in between so you don't lose it, or like stitch markers, or like a, I don't know, like I feel like there's so many things. So you could just pop that on so you don't lose it while you're kind of like, transitioning between like a needle, or like weaving in ends and you need to place your needle down, or doing a setup round and you're placing metal stitch markers or taking them off, right? You would just kind of collect them on here. I just think it's so cool. And it's just like a cute little thing. And this is silicone, so this does not hurt at all. If you guys remember, like the ones from when you're a kid, they were just like kind of hard plastic and they kind of hurt. This is silicone, so it does not hurt at all. But it's kind of cool, and it's a little nostalgic for me, so I like that. Then I have been wanting one of these for a while, but all of the ones that I saw were just so bulky, and I was like, I don't think I really want to carry that around, but it would be cool to have a little like needle gauge, so that if you can't, because a lot of my needles it's hard to read the number on them to see like, oh, is this the 4mm, is this the 3mm, and so it's like hard to kind of see, like sometimes the writing is so small, or sometimes it rubs off, right? When it's not like engraved or like etched into it, it'll rub off, and then you're like, so this is a needle gauge. I think that's what they're called, where you like, you put your needle through, and if it, fits, then you know what size it is, and it has like the sizes on these to tell you which size it is, and it's just so cute, and it's like rainbow. It's just adorable, and it's so small, so it's not one of those big ones. Like this just fits so perfectly into a notions bag. Crazy. So I spent an extra $20 to get some cool little notions. All right, so next I bought some things from Hobby, I don't know how to say it, and I've never shopped from there either, so that was another kind of first. But I was thinking, I have this cone of yarn, so this isn't a new acquisition, I've had it already, but this is a brown sheep cone. It's their fingering weight, and it's in the autumn leaves colorway, and it's a really unique kind of golden green, kind of an antique, the camera turned off, kind of an antique-y green. And I finally decided what I wanted to do with it. I want to knit the Cargill, which is another Rebecca design. I want to knit the Cargill with this because I just feel like I'm like, ooh, with the dip stitch texture, like this yarn, oh, it's gonna be amazing. So since this is fingering weight, I thought, we'll just get a mohair and it'll be perfect. But trying to match this color, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. I tried. So I bought some mohair from Hobie, and this is the Mayflower Super Kid Silk Kid Mohair. This is the shade Pesto, and I thought online it looked a lot more golden-y green, but you can kind of tell, right? Like it's definitely more green. So this, I tried them together. I did a little swatch. I ripped it out because I didn't want to waste the yarn. I did a little swatch and I did not like it. You could really tell, like you could see this thread running through, and I just didn't like it, and I thought it kind of took away from this color, which is really just want this color. So that was kind of a bust, and I bought 10 of these because I figured if it didn't match, I would find something else to use it for. So I'm okay with that, but I have 10 of these so I can knit something with that. I'll just have to find a good color to pair it with. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that mohair. But I've decided I still am going to use this for the Cargill. I'm just going to buy a few more skeins. I just don't have enough. This isn't enough to knit the size that I need and hold this double. So I need to buy some more skeins. And I think I was like, oh, I'll just buy a whole nother cone. But I think I only need 3 skeins of this. And I think it was going to be like $20. I think it was $20. So that doesn't sound right. But I think that's what the total looked like it was going to be. I might be totally wrong. But it didn't seem like it would be too expensive to get just a couple more skeins of this to get the right amount. And if they were like obviously going to be different dye lots, but I'm like, if it's still going to be a better match than trying to pair mohair with it. And since I'm holding it double, I feel like it'll blend even if some of the skeins are a little off, like not exactly the same color. It'll still be close enough than this. And you'd think like you think it would be okay, but they just didn't blend. It didn't blend together enough to make like a shade that worked. You could just see the two, you could just tell even from like far away. So I wasn't a fan of how it was looking. So I will probably get more of this, but I wanted to explain why I bought this. And then in order to get free shipping from Hobie, I bought some more yarn and some project bags. So I got this BC Garn, right? I think you're not supposed to pronounce the R, maybe. They're a lino yarn, which is 50% linen, 50% cotton. And this is in the color 27. It's in the color 27. So I just got 2 little donuts of this. I was going to use this as a stripe in potentially a Farnham tee with the cotton yarn, not the green one, the white one. So it'd be kind of a very like low contrast stripey Farnham tee, potentially. That's my thinking right now is what I'll do with these. Then, again, so I could get free shipping, I just bought some of these project bags. They just come with like 3 different sizes. And I just thought this was a cute print and just a nice simple drawstring bag. So I just threw that in there to get the free shipping. So I don't need more project bags, but here it is. So, okay. And then, we're not done yet. I still have a lot more, and I apologize. I realize this is very excessive, but I needed more summer yarn. So I want to knit the Cumulus top from Petite Knit. And so I didn't have any yarn to knit that with, so I bought some Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. So I got Sunflower. So I'm going to knit the Cumulus top in this. And then, because I was like, oh, might as well get more yarn to, you know, because I bought this directly from Knitting for Olive, so I was like, I might as well get more yarn. And so I bought another color. I bought olive. Ooh, almost dropped it. I bought olive for a second Cumulus top because I figured why not have two in different colors. And I have kind of a, you know, summery color, and then I just thought it would look good in this. I just thought it would look good. So, and I feel like these actually look really good together. So I'm kind of like, now I sort of have this color combination in my head. Like, I don't want to do something with it. But these will be distinct, different projects. But yeah, so I bought those. That was exciting. More Knitting for Olive. And then switching gears a little bit. This is actually something my mom bought me. And I'm trying to remember where she got this from. I don't remember where she got this from, but this is a set of some yarn. It's the Dirty Water Dye Works. I think they're indie dyers. It says dyed in Boston. I'm like, where did this come from? Because it was definitely from a local yarn shop in the Seattle area, but I don't remember which one. Anyways, this is their Lillian Gradient Bundle in the Moon Shadow colorway. Or colorways, I suppose. And this is 100% superwash merino. I think it's fingering weight. I'm pretty sure it's fingering weight. Yeah, and it's just like this gradient. So I don't know what to do with this. Please let me know if you have ideas. It's 740 yards all together. So I feel like I could knit a tee with this, like maybe a Tolsta tee. I think I have enough. Do I? Ooh, no, I don't think this would be enough for a Tolsta tee, actually. Just kidding. So there's some other tees though that I could probably knit with this, because Rebecca did come out with the fingering weight version. So I don't know. I could knit a tee with this, but I'm nervous that I won't know how to like match the sleeves to like the gradient as it goes down. Does that make sense? So if you know of any, I don't know, like tutorials on how to use gradient or like ombre yarn, let me know. I was thinking maybe I could make a shawl too. Maybe there's a cool shawl that I can make with this. I don't think I would be upset if it didn't turn into a tee. So I could do a shawl, I could do a tee. Anyways, this was a present, so like, you know, I wasn't, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, so beautiful. I have no idea what to make with it. But that just means, you know, there's possibilities and we can figure it out and it's gonna be fun. But yeah, so there's that. And then I'll share my last like new acquisitions, and then I have a couple of stuff from my stash that I want to talk about because I have future plans for them. Anyways, so I went shopping with my mom at a yarn store yesterday, and I was originally going to see if I could match this to something. One thing that I've noticed though is that a lot of the local yarn shops, at least in my area, they don't really carry mohair. They'll have like one brand with like not very many colors. It's just not like a thing, I feel like. I don't know if it doesn't sell well in physical like brick and mortar yarn shops or something, or if, I don't know, if mohair is maybe more of a like YouTube kind of trendier thing, and people who maybe don't watch YouTube and are knitters, maybe they don't use a lot of mohair. I don't know. Maybe it's popular on YouTube, but not overall. So I'm not really sure why that is, but I've just never seen it. There's even been some yarn stores I've walked into that they don't even carry lace weight yarn. It's just like not a thing that they have. So anyways, but yeah, so I thought maybe, I looked online and I thought this yarn store might have a color that would work, but in person it ended up being the same as the other color that I had, where it was just not the same green. But I decided that if I didn't find a match for that I was going to buy some sock yarn. And unfortunately for my wallet, this yarn store had so many beautiful hand-dyed sock yarns. And I just, and some other things that I wanted. So, this one I don't know if this is hand-dyed. I don't think it is. I could be wrong. But this is the Shoppel, I'm probably saying that wrong, Crazy Zobber Bowl. This is in the colorway 2254. I think. Anyways. I have been wanting one of these forever. They look so cool. And this colorway specifically, I have been kind of obsessed with like pastel pinks and purples lately. Not as obsessed, I feel like, as this like kind of more chartreusey kind of neon green, but this is like a close runner-up. And yeah, I thought this would be beautiful. I believe this is self-striping yarn. I could be wrong. And it kind of mimics like a hand-spun yarn, I think. I don't feel like I actually know what I'm talking about. So, I could be wrong. But anyways, socks. Yes, I will be knitting socks with these, or with this, and I just think that, yeah, I really, really... Okay, wait a second. Now I'm thinking maybe I have the wrong... No, I did have the right number for the color. Okay. Anyways, I'm really, really excited about this, and I was so excited to see it in person and just see how like beautiful in person it was too. And I'm just excited. I'm so excited to knit some socks with that. Anyways, let's move on. Then I've been wanting to have kind of just on hand. I wanted to have some yarn that I could knit that would go with like any sock yarn, where if I wanted to have like a contrasting heel or in cuff and toe or something like that. But I kind of just wanted to have something on hand that would go with everything. All of the fiber is making me sneeze. And so I don't know if this is actually going to be the best for what I'm needing, but I wanted something that would go with everything. So I picked up a white yarn, and I'm thinking like on the heel, this is probably going to get kind of dirty. Like, we'll see if it's something that, like, I don't know, my heels, when I use this, might turn into just, they might not stay white, you know what I mean? Because I just feel like I'm going to be walking around on my socks, and they're going to pick up all the dirt, and it's just going to really, really show on this. But I went ahead with it because I was like, white will go with pretty much anything. And they didn't have, I was looking for more of a kind of warm beige, but they didn't really have, they had like some cool tone beiges and some grays. It just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So I went with the white. Might have been a mistake. We shall see. But this is the Cascade Yarns Heritage yarn, and the color is white. And so descriptive. And this is, what is this? It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. I was thinking I could use this as like the cuff and the heel for this. That might be kind of cute. Or I might just use this and just not do any contrasting heel for it. We'll see. But I just wanted to have the white one on deck just in case. And then this is where it gets exciting because we're getting into the hand-dyed yarn. So I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so freaking beautiful. So I bought 2 hand-dyed yarns from Wildstar Fibers. What does it say where they're based out of? It does not. So I don't know, but I intend to follow them on Instagram and see where they're from. I don't know if they're local or not, but Wildstar Fibers. So this is their Supernova sock fingering weight. In this one is Gossamer and this one is Hypnotize. And I thought like this would be really cool to do like contrasting, like maybe this is the leg and the foot and this is the cuff and heel and toe, and then switch them if I have enough yarn left over, something like that. This is beautiful. It's 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon for these guys. And I'm really excited to knit a lot of socks. Like I just really want to knit a lot of socks. They're so much fun, and I know that I've said that before, and then I didn't cast any more on except until now. But it was so good. I'm just having so much fun with socks, and it I really want to knit all the socks. Okay. So I was gonna stop there, right? Because they don't need, like, this is already a lot, right? Like, for one trip to a yarn store, it's already, like, we're good, okay? So then this other brand of hand-dyed yarn was, like, right next to the other one. And I zeroed in on these two colors and I thought, wow, those would look so beautiful together. So I got these two, and I love the brand name. It's Knit and Bro. I don't know why I like that. It's just kind of funny. These are hand-dyed, obviously, from Pennsylvania. And I feel like I recently heard someone talk about this. Like, now I feel like I feel like this is familiar to me. Like the label and everything. I don't know. Could be wrong. This is their sock yarn. This one is yellow suede, and this one is sunny side up. And I thought they would look so good together. And they were just together. They were like this on the wall together, and I was like, that's so beautiful. I need it. Anyways, these are 75% superwash and 25% nylon. And I really like how long these hanks are. Like, I don't know why. It's just, like, really pretty. Okay. So that was the yarn. I think that's all the yarn that I purchased / the one bundle that my mom gave me. I think we're all caught up on what I purchased. So as you can see, it's been a lot. And so obviously these will be socks at some point. But now I want to get into, I've been realizing though, I really want to like shop my stash, and I had some things because what I've realized, if I have yarn and I don't know what to do with it, like if someone gifts it to me, that's different. I feel like that's like an invitation to just be creative and like figure something out. But when I buy it and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, that stresses me out. Because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have bought it. You know what I mean? So I've been going through some of the things that I have in my stash that I either bought with no plan, or that I bought and the plan that I had for it didn't work out. Or I also randomly just have some things in my stash that I think my mom gave me because she wasn't going to use them, but I didn't know what to do with them. And so it kind of stressed me out having them there. Even though those were technically gifts too, I'm like, oh, but I gotta figure something out. Because what if she wanted to make something with it? Like, it wasn't something she bought with the intention of giving it to me. It was like something she bought and then just didn't end up using. And then maybe if I don't find something to do with it, like, she could be doing something with it. So I need to figure out something to do with it. Like, it shouldn't just sit here. It stresses me out. So I have that. Let's start with that. So this is some yarn that my mom, plastic bag. My mom gave me, because she wasn't going to do anything with it. Or she didn't know what she was going to do with it, so she gave it to me. So I have 5 of these, hand wound. We wound this up before I got a Swift, and a ball winder, so I knew there was a ball band. There was a ball band, just one, in that bag. So this is EY Select Belviso yarn. It's cotton and linen, and nettle fibers. I've never seen that. I don't know. And each of these comes with 394 yards. So it says that it's a super fine weight, so I think it's still considered fingering. I think it is fingering. Yeah, it is fingering weight. So since I have 5 of these and they're each almost 400 yards, I can knit a Tolsta tee. I think in a size 5, I think I can knit a Tolsta tee. So that's what I'm gonna do, I think, with this. Because I think that would be a good color to have like a basic tee in, nice neutral. We're gonna use these. finally, they've been sitting in my, I feel like this is yarn that I had even before I had like a stash, like an actual stash, like where I just kind of had some scrap yarn here and there that my mom would let me like play around with. That sounds like I'm a little kid, but like, you know, when I was kind of like not, like I was into knitting but not like super into it, and my mom would just be like, yeah, you can have this leftover yarn to like mess around with. Because I was like too scared to like commit to actually like making something. Problem then becomes, what do I cast on first? The Tolsta fingering weight, a cumulus top, the Farnham tee, or the next thing that I want to talk about. When I heard that Rebecca had released the fingering weight, or like when I had seen that I think I got an email that there was an update to the pattern, so I knew it was like the fingering weight update, and so I was like, oh, I should see if I have anything that I can use for that. And this yarn actually came to mind, but then I checked and I was like, oh, I don't have enough. Because I only have 3 skeins. And I think I talked about this in a podcast, and I think the reason I bought this was I was going to use it to make socks, but then when I got it, I realized, I was like, oh, there's no nylon or anything in this blend, so probably wouldn't be the best for socks. And so then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't make socks with this yarn. And I also have way more yarn than I would need for a pair of socks, because I didn't understand at the time that I really don't need that much yarn for socks, because I have small feet. So I have this yarn. It's from Knit Picks. It's their gloss fingering weight, and the colorway is Masala, and I have 3. And these are, I think they're only 50 grams. Yeah, they're only 50 grams. So, yeah. So I realized, okay, Tolsta tee is not an option for this amount of yarn. I wouldn't have enough. Oh, I'm dropping it. I wouldn't have enough. So then I looked on Ravelry to try to figure out like what else I could make. And I found a couple of options. The first option was the Outline Tank by, I think that's by Jessie, is it Jessie Mead Designs? It'll be on the screen. I'm so sorry if I'm getting it wrong. So I was like, looking at it, I was like, okay, I could make the outline tee with this, and I think that would be cute. But then I was looking at, shoot, what is it called? I'm gonna put it up on the screen because I don't think I'm logged into Ravelry on my phone, so I don't think I'll be able to see it. But she has it's like a mock neck tank or something. I will put it on the screen, the name. I can't remember. Same design though, same designer, Jessie Mead, I think. Again, it'll be on the screen. But I was actually looking at the details of that, like on the Ravelry page, and this is one of the yarn like options that she has for it. Like yarn suggestions that she has for it. And I have enough to do it. So I'm like, I actually have, like, I think more than enough. I think I'm going to use 2 full skeins and maybe like a little bit of the third, I think, if I did that one. So I wouldn't be playing Yarn Chicken, whereas with the Outline Tank, or the Outline Tank, I think I would be playing a little bit of Yarn Chicken. And I think this will look, I don't know, I feel like this one will look better as the like kind of higher neck like tank. I just think I can just see it more. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this, and I'm really excited because I bought this thinking, oh, I'll make socks, but then I was like, this isn't really sock yarn. Not that, I mean, I could still make it, and it could be fine, but I kind of didn't want, I didn't want to worry about the socks not lasting without that, that nylon to help kind of, enforce it or whatever. And so I was like, I don't really want to make socks with this, actually, after all. And then I just sat there and I felt kind of bad that I was just sitting there and I didn't do anything with it, and yeah, so I think I'm gonna make a top with it, and I'm really excited. So now I don't know which one to cast on first, that top, or a cumulus top, or the Tolsta tee fingering weight, or what was the other one? Fingering, cumulus, or yeah, I think it was just, or the Farnham tea. The Farnham tea was the fourth one. So let me know which one I should cast on. Please help me decide. Place your vote down in the comments below. Let me know. Help me decide. I'm a very indecisive person, so please give me your thoughts, give me your opinions. Which one would you rather see first? That might help me decide. Really quick, the other thing I want to mention is that I think I'm going to make the June top with this because I know that other people have done it with this yarn. So I think I'm going to do that. That's the last future plan I have. So that's it for the knitting related thing. So if you want to leave here, that is totally fine. I know I've been talking for a really long time, so I don't blame you. But if you want to know some of the things that I've been watching, reading lately, I did want to sit and mention those. And I'm going to try to be a little bit quicker just because I have been talking for so long, my throat kind of hurts. But I just kind of wanted to chat a little bit about some of the things that I've been enjoying lately. So the first thing that I want to mention is I've been kind of obsessed with a show recently, and I've been trying to like convince my friends to watch it, and no one's watched it yet. And so I'm like, maybe some of the people that watch my knitting podcast will know the show, and we can, you know, talk about it together. Or not, but at least I'll know that other people are as obsessed with it as I am. But this is a show that I was not expecting to like that much. Like, I just put it on because I was like, okay, I want to watch something while I knit, and I just kind of want something that'll be easy to watch, that won't really, like, you know, it'll be okay maybe if I am not paying attention for a little bit, you know, it won't be like over my head what's going on or anything. I just wanted, you know, an easy thing to watch. And to me, easy things to watch are like the kind of crime dramas, like legal cop crime dramas, you know, the procedural kind of shows, because it's just sort of like, you know, each episode is kind of its own, like, they'll build off each other, but like, you know, it's usually like, oh, there was a murder, let's solve the murder, and then in that episode you solve the murder, and then the next show it's like another murder, you know. So I was thinking the show would just kind of be that, and it wouldn't, you know, it would just kind of be an easy to watch show that I wouldn't really be super invested in, but it would just be kind of nice to have on in the background. So I put on The Rookie, which stars Nathan Fillion, who, I never watched the show, but a lot of people, when I say like, oh, it's, you know, he's the main guy, they're like, oh, the guy from Castle. So he's from Castle, and if you want to go way back, he's from Firefly, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in Buffy for the 7th season, which is, by the way, Buffy is kind of like my all-time favorite show. I think it's probably kind of what, like I was obsessed with Buffy, and I've seen it so many times, probably like in my top shows, you know. But I knew him from Buffy, and I was like, oh my god, he's the evil priest. But that was like, you know, back in the early 2000s, and yeah. Anyways, so it stars Nathan Fillion, and he's basically a 45-year-old rookie in the LAPD. And yeah, I was just thinking like, okay, it's just gonna be kind of a cop drama procedural show, whatever. Super, you know, whatever. It's gonna be something to have on in the background. And it's actually I feel like it's actually a really good show. It's got so many parts that are just absolutely hilarious, but it's also still a serious show. And as far as, I mean, especially in the United States, you know, the police do not have like a, you know, a good public image, right? And the show, I think in some ways, I think the show did do a good job of addressing that in some of the later seasons. It has 5 seasons out right now with a 6th. I think that's coming out in the fall. So they've kind of touched on police brutality, on racism within police departments. But I feel like, you know, they do it in a way where you can still watch the show without it being like too heavy, but it doesn't necessarily shy away from those things. I was a little worried in the first season that they were going to kind of shy away from like that topic. But I think they ended up kind of tackling it a little bit more head on in some of the later seasons, and part of me wishes they would do a little bit more, but the other part of me is also like, okay, I do just want to like zone out and just watch something for entertainment. So in that sense, it is not realistic in any way, because cops don't get shot at that often, and the characters on the show are like getting shot at like every show, right? And that's like not realistic. And it's also not realistic in the sense that like there's a lot of issues with policing in America, and this show doesn't represent that like super realistically, but it tries, if that makes sense. I feel like it makes an effort. But I'm not expecting a TV show to have all the answers to fix our society. So anyways, moving on from that though, the reason that I actually, the real reason that I love this show so much is because of a romance between two of the characters. And they're not the main guy, so not Nathan Fillion, but these two other characters. They have such a slow burn romance, and it took me by such surprise, like, because I'm someone, if shows, books, you know, stories don't have romance to them, I do end up getting bored after a while. Like, I need some romance. And this is a show that I did not expect to get like such a good romance in. And it's like it's like this hidden gem. And like, it's so good. It's so good. The writers like really knew what they were doing. Like, and I was worried because I watched Criminal Minds, and I feel like that show, they didn't understand what gold they had in that show, and they didn't pursue a few relationships that they should have, because it would have been gold. They really missed some opportunities with that show in terms of romance. And so in this show, I was like worried that they didn't understand what they had, but they did. They understood. The writers understood. The show director, showrunner understood what they had there, because there's some gold, some serious romance gold in that show. And I've just become obsessed with it. I'm like my third watch through of it, because I can't get over how good this slow burn was, and I just love it so much. I don't even want to tell you who the two characters are, because I want you to just, if you're gonna watch it, I just want you to like enjoy it and just see when you start to piece it together. You're like, oh my gosh, is this gonna happen? Okay. Anyways, so if you're kind of a romance person, if you like, romance novels or shows that have, romance in them, you're gonna like this show, I think. Even if you wouldn't normally watch like a cop drama, I think you're still gonna like it. The other thing I want to say really quickly about the show before I move on is that I feel like they really have the female gaze down, which is really, really refreshing, because I feel like a lot of stuff that's on TV, movies, TV shows, they don't really care about the female gaze. So I feel like they have the female gaze down. And what I really like is that they don't overly sexualize the women on the show, like the female characters. They're not like, I don't know, I feel like they're the way they dress them, the way that the female characters are written, it's like you can just tell that there are women on the staff that, that like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're not dressing them up in like super sexual ways. They're not over sexualizing certain things, and yeah, it's very refreshing. It's really refreshing. I really like the women on the show. They've got just some really amazing actresses on the show. The characters are just incredible, and I really appreciate that. And I think that the show is doing a really good job of, with diversity, I feel like, but also with like women sharing screen time, and yeah, I just really love it. They tackle some issues when it comes to like, women in the police force, things like that. It's just, yeah, I feel like they've just done a pretty good job. You know, is it perfect? No, but they've done a really good job with the show, and I really, really like it, and that's why I'm watching it for the third time. I'll move on from that, but please, if you've watched that show, let me know, because it's so good, and I don't know anyone who's watched it, and I'm just like, anyways. So, I guess I'll move on to what I've been reading. So, I had a series that I was reading that I ended up DNFing, and I don't really want to talk about that because I don't want to, as someone who is aspiring to publish someday, I don't want to make a habit of like talking about books I don't like. Because I'm not a book talker, I'm not a booktuber, I don't want to review books, but I do want to talk about books that I like, and that I'm reading. I think I'll just talk about one this time around, which is King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But I've never read any of her books before, and she has like quite a few, I think, out, and they've definitely been making their way around book talk. I've been like, I feel like I can't watch a book talk without one of her books being mentioned in it. But I'm reading King of Wrath right now. I haven't finished it. I've kind of been taking it a little slow. It's been a nice kind of slower read. It is a romance book, so if you're not interested in romance books, it's not going to be for you. It is smutty also, so like if you're not into that, definitely not the book for you. But so far I've been liking it. It's basically two characters kind of forced into an arranged marriage by the main character's father. He's kind of forcing them into an arranged marriage. So it has the arranged marriage forced proximity trope, which I don't mind that at all. I love that trope, actually. And yeah, so they start off really disliking each other. I wouldn't say they're enemies. I don't want to say it's like enemies to lovers, but like they do not like each other in the beginning. They meet for the first time. They're like, ugh, cannot believe how this person's acting. And then, you know, the other one's like, yeah, I cannot believe like this person, right? But of course they get to know each other. I haven't finished it, but it's kind of, you know, is it predictable? Yes. Is it still a good book? Yes. I really thoroughly enjoy it. I feel like it's well written. I like the characters. I like that I can pick the main character out of a lineup. I feel like that's an issue that I have with a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy books, is that sometimes the female main character can kind of be a little cookie cutter, and you kind of take them out of a book and put them in a different book and kind of wouldn't notice if you like switched main characters, because sometimes they just, I don't know, sometimes the voice isn't quite there, or like, you know, but this character, I feel like I could pick her out of a lineup. I could not just take her out of this story and put her in a different romance story. Like it works. And the main character, or the main male character is also, I feel like, the same way as, you know, I kind of just interchange him with other love interests from other books. So I really like that. And the cover is beautiful. I don't have the physical book, or I would be showing you. I have it on Kindle Unlimited. But I kind of want to buy it because the cover is so freaking like stunning, and kind of in a minimalist way, and I really like it. But yeah, so that's a book that I've been reading, and let me know if you've read it. If you like romance books, let me know what you're reading. If you like fantasy books, let me know what you're reading. I'm always down for recommendations. But that's what I'm reading currently. I did buy The Fourth Wing on Kindle, because you cannot get it. You can't get a physical copy right now. Fourth Wing. I can't remember who it was by. I'm so sorry. I'll put it up on the screen. Again, I bought it on Kindle because it was going to be too much of a wait at the library. And I could not get a physical copy. So I bought it on Kindle. And I started reading it, but then I forgot that I hadn't finished King of Wrath, so I was like, I should finish that first. So I started reading Fourth Wing, but I'm like only like a couple chapters in, so I don't have thoughts on it yet. But it feels like it's going to be a really fun read, so I'm excited for that. So let me know if you're reading that too. And yeah, that's what I feel like I've been consuming. Oh, I did have a podcast that I wanted to mention. I feel like I've been getting more and more into it, and I've been watching it on YouTube instead of like listening to it, so it's like a YouTube channel. But I think they do also have like the podcast on Spotify and other places as well. But it's The Diary of a CEO, and by the title of it, I kind of thought I wasn't going to like the podcast. It was kind of like oh, this is gonna be a, like, hey, millionaires always have a morning routine, so you should too. And if you just make the bed in the morning, you'll be, a totally different person and you'll get your life together and you'll make millions of dollars. You just gotta do that one thing. It kind of, like, by the title of that, it sort of felt like that was what it was gonna be about, but it's actually not that at all. And the guy, I think his name's Steve, can't remember his, like, full name, but the guy, he just interviews people. Like, every single episode is just a different interview with someone, be about totally different things, but kind of the concept of it is that it's, he asks questions that I feel like they're really good questions, and he really gets to, like, the heart of things, and really brings out, like, I feel like a more of a vulnerable side of people. He's really good at that. And I've only watched, like, 2 episodes, but he kind of, like, draws out vulnerability in people, and, like, isn't afraid to, like, shy away from hard, tough questions, and it's just, like, really cool. I've really liked it. I've only watched 2 episodes, and I'm already like, wow, like, I'm hooked. One of them I watched was with, the glucose goddess. I can't remember her full name, but I think her first name is Jessie, and then her last name is something that I don't think I can pronounce. And she talks about, like, glucose spikes and sugar and our diet, the Western diet, things like that. But it was really, really interesting because she talks about ways that you can kind of, like, still eat the foods that you like, but kind of combat the sugar spike, the glucose spike that comes along with it. So she has all these different, like, things that you can try to do to kind of make sure your glucose isn't spiking as high. And it was really informative, and it was really cool. And then the other one I watched was an interview with Dr. Mindy Pelz, who I, like, already watch her YouTube channel because I'm trying to lose weight and get my health better and everything. And she talks a lot about fasting on her channel and how to fast specifically if you have a menstrual cycle, which is really helpful because a lot of people talk about fasting don't talk about that aspect of it, that you have to fast differently if you're a woman, and she covers that. And so I really like her channel, and so I saw that she had, I think that was the most recent episode actually, was an interview with her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to watch that because I love her. And it was cool, a lot of the same information that I had already learned from her channel, but again with that kind of added in, like, he really draws out this more, like, vulnerable, transparent side of people. Is just really cool. It's really, really cool. It's just very open and honest conversation between, like, 2 people. And I've seen, I haven't watched them yet, but he's had, like, celebrities on, like Lucy Hale and Cole Sprouse, and, like, I think other celebrities, and he just has, like, all these different people come on, and I just feel like I'm gonna learn, like, so many random little things from watching that podcast, but I've really been enjoying it. So I thought I would talk about it. I thought I would mention it, see if anyone else watches. And if you do watch that podcast, or if you listen to that podcast already and you have other recommendations, definitely leave them in the comments because I would love to check out other things. And I feel like that's all I can really remember in terms of, like, things that I've been, like, media that I've been consuming. So, yeah. I'll leave it there, I guess. So that is it. I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much if you made it this far, for hanging out with me for, like, a while. I appreciate you. If you are liking my knitting podcast, make sure to subscribe before you go. And also, I would love to know, what were you knitting on while you were watching? Or if you're doing another craft, what were you working on? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. And if you have opinions about what top I should cast on next, definitely tell me. Help me decide. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in probably my next vlog. If you like knitting vlogs, check out the rest of my channel. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next knitting podcast or in my next knitting vlog. Bye!
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding, and I press my lips together so you don't find any answer.